All right, so if you're in the market for a 2019 250, very good chance that you have your eye on the new 2019 YZ250F. So Yamaha with the past 250, very popular bike, very good engine power, one of the best engines in class, awesome suspension, good stability. And now for 2019, as you can see, it has been completely updated. Got a lot of the updates that the big brother, the YZ450F got, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. Now, I'm not gonna bore you and list off every single bullet point and all the changes that this bike has gone through. If you wanna read everything that they've done, click on the link after this video, you can read all about it. But we do wanna cover some of the major changes and things that you'd wanna know about as you're looking to see if this is gonna be your next bike. So first off, change I really like for 2019, you know I have electric start on this bike. As far as the body work, it's got the same body work now as the 2019 YZ450F. So new shroud design, what I really like about this new framework and the body, it's narrower, so they narrowed down the frame a little bit. The past Yamaha, you know, always had that reputation for being a little bit wider and feeling wide, and I'd agree with that. It was one of the wider feeling bikes. So they narrowed down the frame, which I like as a shorter rider, easier to squeeze. And they've also just changed the shape of these shrouds to make it feel and look narrower up front. So overall, the body geometry, I'm a big fan of what they've done. With the seat, it is now actually about 9 millimeters lower in the saddle area. And then as you taper off to the back, it's almost 20 millimeters lower. So for shorter riders, again, like me, I'm a big fan of that because when you're standing up on the bike, it gives you just more room. So you're not feeling like the seat's gonna be hitting you in the butt as much as you're going through some of those rougher sections. So they've updated the body styling again, just like the 450F. Now let's talk about the frame. So all new frame this year. So you got the main spars are different, the engine hangers, they've changed the mounting position of the engine itself. And what Yamaha's goal was with this bike is just to give a good balance of cornering and straight line rigidity and stability. So the past 250, it was a very stable bike, like I said, great motor, but not really known as the best cornering bike in the class. You know, a lot of riders, myself included, felt like it was just a little bit vague coming into turns. So with this new frame and the geometry and the balance, they just want to have a better, you know, front end feel. So if you're coming in, it's going to be a little bit more of a front end steering bike. So I'm really excited to get out here and ride today and kind of see if these changes that they've done this year have really helped with that balance of the bike. Now, as far as engine goes on the bike and the changes, like I said earlier, the YZ250F always had a great bottom end, a strong motor, but where a lot of riders felt like it lacked was that mid to top. So this year, Yamaha's made some big updates, so higher compression piston, different cam profile, they've updated the cylinder head, and they're just trying to get a little bit more mid to top end pull and a bit more over rev. So I'll go out and ride, and I kind of want to see if they're able to maintain that strong bottom, but get more out of that mid to top. So I'm kind of curious to see what they did. And last thing I want to talk about that I'm a big fan of, and we saw this with the 450, and now they're doing it with their 250, is their built-in Wi-Fi. So I think it's really cool. It's innovative from Yamaha. It's called their Power Tuner app. You just download it on your smartphone. It's free, and it allows you to just have full control of your bike. You can change your map settings. You can change your ignition right from your phone. So you get to go out on the track. It has a couple maps built in, but it just gives you control over the bike. So you find a map setting that you really like. So I think it's really cool and innovative that Yamaha is doing that. Along with that, this Wi-Fi box actually on that Power Tuner app, you can track your engine hours, you can track your maintenance time. So just a lot of cool functionality that you're getting with that Wi-Fi box. So the last thing we'll cover with the bike is just suspension. So if you know Yamaha's, you know as well as anyone else that for years it's been known as having some of the best stock suspension that is out there. You've got the KYB spring forks. Yamaha, they never even went away from it. They never tried air forks. They knew it worked and they stuck to it. So props to Yamaha for that. But they have updated the valving this year, and they updated the valving just to kind of give a better balance and match with the changes that they made to the frame and that rigidity, just to have that better balanced feel. So those are the big changes that they made to the bike this year. Again, if you want to read everything that they've done, click on the link after this video. But now I'm going to get out there, burn some laps, come back, and let you guys know how I feel about the bike. All right, guys, so we just finished up riding this 2019 YZ250F. Spun a lot of laps out here at OCA. And if I could sum it up in one sentence about this bike, it is what a difference a year can make. I didn't have a lot of time on the previous YZ250F, but I can tell you right now that everything about that previous bike that I wasn't a huge fan of, that is gone. They have addressed those issues, and they have made this bike so much better this year. If you're definitely looking for a 2019 250, this is one you want to put at the top of your list. So first thing I want to cover is just the ergonomics. So with the Yamaha, it does kind of have that wider look and feel to it. It's not the skinniest or the narrowest bike by any means, but they've done a great job of narrowing up the frame, and then again, they fixed those fender shrouds so the bike doesn't seem as wide up near the front. Now with this, one thing about this bike and the 450 that I've noticed is you'll notice with the seat profile that it does have more of a dip to it. It's not as flat or streamlined as some of the other bikes. So when you sit on it, it's something I kind of had to get used to, where I kind of feel like I'm just sitting in a pocket. So for me initially, when I first saw that, I thought, man, that's gonna really inhibit me from getting up on the front of the bike to help this front end bite and corner the bike. Because with the previous model, you know, a complaint that a lot of riders had, it was kind of vague coming into corners. You didn't feel like the front end was giving you a lot of feedback and it wasn't sticking. But now, because with the chassis changes, the frame changes, you know, changing the mounts on the engine and moving it just slightly, they've done a great job of getting a better balance. So even though, yes, you do have that pocket there, what I found out really quickly is that this bike has so much more front end feel and traction than the previous model. It's something that I really enjoy. So you can steer it from the front. If you're a front end steering rider, you're not gonna have any issue there. If you like to hang off the back and steer from the rear, this bike's gonna allow you to do both those. So good balance with the chassis. They did a really good job. Now, as far as suspension goes, that's something Yamaha's always been known for. You got the KYB spring fork, still an awesome fork. They rechanged the valving. So I'm about 175 pounds dry. So for me, I actually just went 2 clicks stiffer on compression. And after that, I didn't change anything. You know when you have a good motorcycle, when you can go out and ride it, you set your sag, and you don't have to change anything other than maybe a few clicks here and there. If you don't have to touch anything and the bike feels comfortable, you know you've got a good bike. So with that, I just went 2 clicks stiffer on suspension, or on the forks, excuse me, and then 2 clicks stiffer compression on rebound. And then I actually had the bike set at 105 millimeters of sag. They usually recommend about 100, right around that mark. But for me, I was able to still have a little bit more sag to get a little bit more stability in the high speed, you know, that fast choppy sections. But the bike's still corner well. I still like I had enough front end bite to where I could run that much sag. So suspension's awesome. We talk about the motor. Again, with Yamaha this year, they wanted to still try and retain that bottom end hit that they were known for with this bike, but they wanted to increase the mid to top and give it some more over rev so it would pull longer. And what I really like about the characteristic of this motor is, I'd say it doesn't have maybe as much bottom end as the previous bike. But like I said, it's hard to get more mid to top and still maintain all that bottom, but you still have plenty of grunt. There's actually a lot of turns out here where I didn't think I was gonna be able to carry third through, but as long as I kept enough momentum, I could carry third through those corners. And then second gear, you got plenty of grunt all day long. So good bottom end, but the mid to top is where a lot of the improvement has come this year. So in that mid to top, it just pulls longer, it pulls harder, and it's a good free-feeling engine. So it doesn't rev out too quickly, which sometimes can give that binding sensation, and that'll kind of make the bike feel heavier. So because it's a really free-feeling motor, it feels light. You know, I rode the new 19 450F, and that bike to me just felt a little bit lethargic. Even though it's the same frame, the same geometry, just because you have that bigger motor, it just felt a little bit harder to get to lean over, not as snappy, you couldn't just move it around as easily. But this bike, much easier to do so. So I like it. I think the motor is really good. Overall, the entire package of this bike is freaking awesome. I tried out the different maps today. I just stayed with the more aggressive map. Obviously, with the track we were riding today, a little bit loamy in the morning time, later in the afternoon, it got a little bit square edge, a little bit hard packed, but I just stayed in the more aggressive map. But like I said earlier, you have that Wi-Fi with that Power Tuner app. So if you want to change the mapping and kind of experiment with that, they give you the power to do that right from your own phone. So it's pretty sweet. So overall, with this new 2019 YZ250F, good bike. Corners well, good stability in high-speed sections, soaks up the chop extremely well with the fork. You know, it allows you to do whatever you want with it. If you want to pivot and turn sharp, steer from the rear, you can do that. Again, for a 250, really strong motor. And again, narrowing up that chassis, making it thinner, you know, making the shrouds up to the front feel thinner. Overall, the bike just feels more nimble. Just a fun bike to ride. So if this is a bike that you're interested in, definitely I consider picking one up. I have no doubt that this bike is going to do really good in the 2019 shootout. So make sure you're watching those to see where people are placing this bike. But if you guys have any other questions, any more feedback that you want from me, anything else that maybe I noticed with this bike that I didn't mention today, feel free to leave your comments below. We'll get your questions answered. If you guys like this bike review, this test, well, do not hesitate. Get subscribed to our YouTube channel because we're always doing bike reviews like this one you saw today. Bike builds, how-to videos, buyer's guides, everything you need to get rocking and rolling. I'm Chase. We'll see you on the trails.